Chapter 9. Fidellas Sheppard. The late afternoon sun bathed the West Virginia countryside in a golden haze, casting long shadows along the dirt road leading to Petroleum. Fidellas Sheppard adjusted the strap of his upright base, the familiar weight settling against his shoulder like an old friend. At over 6 feet 3 inches tall, Fidellas's lean, strong frame often drew notice, but his quiet demeanor kept him in the background, a role he preferred. The base was his companion, its smooth, well-worn wood as much a part of him as the hills and hollows surrounding Elizabeth. The band was en route to their first performance in Petroleum, a town well outside their usual 10-mile radius. The decision to travel farther had been met with equal parts excitement and apprehension. Curley had argued that it was a good opportunity to reach new audiences, while Curley had simply grinned, eager for the adventure. The wagon creaked as it rolled along the dirt road, drawn by a team of sturdy bay horses. Curley sat up front, reins in hand, his posture relaxed as the horses plodded steadily along. The late afternoon sunlight caught his dark, curly hair, and his easy grin matched the rhythm of the wagon's swaying. "Think we'll have a crowd?" Curley asked, glancing sideways at Early, who sat beside him, his fiddle case resting on his lap. Early tilted his hat back, his sharp eyes scanning the horizon. "If the folks in Petroleum like music half as much as they like gossip, we'll be packed in tighter than fish in a barrel." Curley chuckled, giving the reins a playful flick. "Good thing they've got me to charm him." Early's smirk was faint but present. "Charm only gets you so far. Better make sure that Banjo's tuned." From the back of the wagon, Fidellas leaned against his base, his deep voice carrying over the rattle of the wheels. "And make sure you don't charm so much you forget to play." Mo Rapsity, perched beside Fidellas with his guitar in hand, let out a low laugh. "Don't worry, Fid. Curley'll play, once he's done, making all the girls swoon." Curley glanced over his shoulder, tipping his hat. "I can do both, you know." Mo shook his head, strumming a few idle chords as the road wound through the hills. The scenery was both familiar and new, rolling fields giving way to patches of dense forest, the distant sound of a creek mingling with the clatter of the wagon wheels. The smell of pine and damp earth filled the air, underscoring the unspoiled beauty of the Appalachian foothills. Fidellas took in the surroundings, noting the way the late sunlight dappled the trees and the hills rolled endlessly into the horizon. It was moments like these, far from the noise and bustle, that reminded him why he loved this land. Even as they ventured beyond their usual territory, West Virginia's rugged beauty seemed to follow them. "Petroleum's a long haul," Fidellas said, breaking the comfortable silence. "You sure will be worth the trouble?" Early glanced back, his dark eyes steady. "It's not trouble if it's good music. People out here don't have much, but they've got ears, and they've got feet to dance." "That's enough." Mo nodded in agreement, his smile easy. "That's the truth. Music's one thing that brings folks together, no matter where you're from." The wagon crested a hill, and the town of Petroleum came into view, its modest cluster of buildings nestled in a shallow valley. A few lamplights flickered in the growing dusk, and smoke curled lazily from chimneys. The barn they were heading to stood just beyond the main road, its open doors spilling warm light onto the yard. Curley whistled, giving the reins a tug to slow the team. "Looks like we made it. And just in time, too." As the wagon rolled to a stop outside the barn, Fidellas climbed down, his bass in hand. Early and Mo followed, their instruments carefully in tow. Curley tied off the horses and stretched, his banjo case swinging at his side. The hum of conversation and laughter reached them from inside the barn, mingling with the faint clink of mason jars and the creak of boots on wooden floors. Fidellas glanced toward the barn's wide-open doors, taking in the lively scene. "Well," he said, his voice low and steady, "let's see if Petroleum's ready for us." Curley shot him a grin. "Ready? They're about to get the best music this side of the river." Early's response was a dry glance, but he said nothing as he stepped into the barn with purpose. Fidellas followed, the familiar pull of the bass strings anchoring him in the moment. Mo strummed a quick, cheerful chord as they passed through the doors, their steps falling into an unspoken rhythm. The barn was filled with faces, some familiar but most new, their expressions eager and expectant. Fidellas felt a flicker of pride. Tonight, they would bring something special to Petroleum, something worth remembering. And that was Chapter 9 of Banjo Strings and Anvil Rings. If you love storytelling and history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a chapter. See you next time.